Bighorn County authorities say a Hardin High School teacher is behind bars because she helped hide a gun a student carried onto school grounds. Charging documents state the boy flashed the gun at another student on Friday while demanding lunch money. Officers were called to the school and the 17-year-old student was found in Nora Bluck's classroom even though he didn't have any classes there. He denied having a weapon and told officers he was just joking around with a black hairdryer. He was escorted off of school property and no weapon was found. It was the next day when Block told the school principal she found a gun under a desk in her classroom while cleaning. Officers came to the school, but she avoided their request for an interview. She had returned to the school on Saturday, placed the gun under a desk, and then called authorities. Prosecutors say it was later that day when she confessed to school officials she had lied, saying she found the gun on Friday and then hid it in her own desk. Both Block and the student face felony charges. On to court news. A Lame Deer man now admits to a fatal assault on the Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation in September. Prosecutors initially charged 23-year-old Derek Shoulderblade with second-degree murder for the deadly assault. But on Thursday, Shoulderblade pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in Billings to the lesser charge of involuntary manslaughter. Shoulderblade walked to the home of 30-year-old Ozzie Wilson in September after his car broke down. Another person at Wilson's home offended Shoulderblade, so he left. Shoulderblade later returned and knocked on the door. As part of a plea agreement, Shoulderblade admits he then hit Wilson in the head with a trampoline pole. Wilson was hospitalized for the head injury and never regained consciousness. A sentencing date has yet to be set. Going now on special assignment, Q2's Jay Cohn joins us with part 2 of his special report on the future of Colstrip.
When we first met Lori Shaw 2 years ago, she and her close friend Ashley Dennehy had just founded Colstrip United. The two Colstrip natives felt the need to give their community a voice, a forum to help educate people about the importance of coal and coal energy. Little did they realize this new endeavor would inspire an entire community.
We've garnered 17,000 followers on Facebook, and we also now have a presence on Twitter and Instagram. We just like to focus on public education about coal and coal energy and what it does for our communities and our state and whatnot. And so what you're seeing is this large amount of people that find this message relatable.
Shaw has now taken her activism a step further, having just been elected to the Colstrip City Council, a new role that gives her added perspective.
I sit on the advisory board for the Colstrip Library, and our small library just lost its state aid. The primary source of state aid for libraries is the coal severance tax. So even though for Colstrip the hard times aren't quite here yet, we're getting like a tiny glimmer in certain areas already.
We're not the first community in the U.S. that's going through this, and so we're looking at other communities around the country on things that they have done positively and what impacts that they've had and how they've addressed those with government and the private sector and how it's worked out. Pro or con, hopefully we can learn from that and make this a very positive experience one way or the other.
At the Southeastern Montana Development Corporation, Jim Atchison knows the value of keeping a positive attitude. He's at the forefront, trying to attract new businesses to Colstrip and to keep the existing ones.
Quality of life, though, in Colstrip is unbelievable, and that's some of the benefits of the coal industry or the coal economy for this part of the state. And so we reap those benefits, and whether it's the school, the clinic, the park and rec district, or the city and county taxes, which are very low compared to other communities.
Pat Campbell, labor relations specialist at Western Energy's Rosebud Mine, has lived and worked in Colstrip for nearly 30 years. He's worried about property values and jobs.
My personal opinion, I believe we're going to see some layoffs in the community here. It's going to affect everybody from bringing, we have hundreds of vendors that come here from Billings, Miles City, wherever. It's going to affect those people too. And I think we're going to feel a pretty good pinch.
So the question everyone's asking is, when will Colstrip Units 1 and 2 shut down? Well, co-owners Talon Energy and Puget Sound have agreed to a shutdown date of June of 2022. But on the streets in Colstrip, the word is it could happen earlier than that, perhaps a year earlier, June of 2021. And what about Colstrip Units 3 and 4? As you see, they're owned by 6 different companies. Any decision to shut down would require unanimous consent by all 6. In its latest rate case in the state of Washington, Puget Sound identified 2027 as its exit date from Colstrip. Talon Energy says it foresees the plants operating well beyond that, as long as they stay economically viable. And that will be the deciding factor. Jay Cohn, MTN News, Billings.
Thank you so much, Jay. In other news, grizzly bears are making a comeback. Last June, Yellowstone grizzlies were taken off the endangered species list. But in northwest Montana, the grizzly bears who live in the Flathead area and rest of the country are still listed as endangered. Ecologists say that area has the highest population of grizzlies in the lower 48 states. From just 100 bears to 10 times that, the bears' recovery is one that took a full team effort, and there's still more work to be done. State, federal, and tribal agencies are currently putting together a conservation strategy if and when the federal government moves forward to delist them in the region. In Yellowstone National Park, your phone can get you into the park. Starting today, visitors can get their park passes online. You can buy an annual or 7-day entrance pass on a website called Your Pass Now. The goal is a more convenient way to purchase tickets without paying any extra fees. Well, it was like taking a step back in time last night at Rocky Mountain College. An annual tradition to celebrate the college's beginnings by candlelight dinner was a little more authentic last night. Because of a power outage, those celebrating the college's history ate dinner by true candlelight, just as they did in 1910. Each year, the candlelight dinner provides a chance to remember the school's beginnings.
Sometimes you need to stop and just look at the past and look at how far you've come. And that's what tonight is all about. You know, the hardships 125 years ago that students and faculty went through to start this great college. You know, college is the oldest college. It's an anchor institution in this region. And so sometimes it's nice to celebrate that heritage and that tradition.
The power was out for an hour and a half last night. And a bit of history, 3 colleges formed Rocky. At its beginning in 1909, the school was known as Billings Polytechnic University. Before we take a break, a woman dies of cardiovascular disease every 80 seconds in the U.S. Today, the American Heart Association is asking women to wear red to bring awareness to the leading cause of death in women. Daniel Nottingham has the story of a heart attack survivor who wants other women to know the warning signs.
How often do you have to go to the doctor?
Every 6 months.
Doctors told 40-year-old Tara Robinson she was too young to have a heart attack, but she did.
And I was hot, I was clammy, it was just crazy. So I knew something was wrong, I just didn't know what.
For months, she complained of symptoms: numbness in her left arm, tightness in her neck, nausea, and a burning in her chest. Tests were negative, and the warning signs were dismissed because of her age.
And we chalked it up to stress.
Several weeks later, Tara was back in the ER after collapsing, and doctors discovered she was having a massive heart attack. An exam of her heart showed she had 2 heart attacks before.
I think I went into a state of shock or disbelief that this was happening to me, and I've always been so healthy.
When women have heart disease, it might not be that typical elephant sitting on the chest pressure that we hear often in men. In fact, in women, the symptoms may be more subtle.
Dr. Suzanne Steinbaum is a spokesperson for the American Heart Association. She says recognizing the warning signs and risk factors is key.
Prevention is so critical. It's about lifestyle choices, your diet, your exercise, managing your stress.
Tara, now 43, has changed her outlook on life.
We have to start as women, putting ourselves first and making a commitment to live a healthier lifestyle.
She's eating healthy and exercising for 30 minutes every day. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Fort Worth, Texas.
And cardiovascular disease affects about 44 million women in the U.S.